Here are the 5 things that I did to mourn my baby.
We're the loud neighbors, a fearless pair, unafraid of judgment. We laugh and stare. Two hangry women, 4 dogs by our side. Through laughter and tears, we are side by side, side by side, side by side.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel, That Mother Who. I'm Kiara Jacobs. Thank you for joining me this evening. Might be day where you are. I'm currently shooting this at night. Why? Because I'm a working mom and it's almost 10 o'clock here in South Africa. I only got my baby to bed like a little while ago. You know, mom life duties of washing bottles and breast pumps and everything, and we still had to clean up after dinner, and I had a bath. I'm freshly bathed, so my hair is smelling like spring. Spring is around the corner. On Friday we will finally have spring day here in South Africa, so we're very excited to have some warmth. We are not used to cold. We only do 3 months of winter and then we want our summer. So we are so ready here in South Africa for our summer. So last week I talked about my miscarriage, which I had at 9 weeks pregnant. This was in August 2021. It was a very difficult time in our lives, but it's also the journey that led me, well, it was part of my motherhood journey, but it was part of the journey that also led me to have Hailey. So Hailey is with us Earthside. She's our rainbow baby, and we are so lucky to have her in our lives. But before her, I was pregnant with another baby. I will link that first vlog up here so you can watch it if you want to be up to speed. It was my first ever vlog, so please excuse all my first time vlogging mistakes. So today's vlog will be about how I mourn our baby. For everyone, the mourning process is different. Everyone does it differently. This is in no ways the perfect guide on how to mourn your baby. This is just how I did it, and to me, I'm a very sentimental person, so dates are important to me, pictures are important to me, videos are important to me. So all of those also form part of the triggers and still form part of the triggers that sometimes I will get sad and I'll think of our baby. I have been doing much better. It still has its triggers. August is a very difficult month for me. It's also one of the best months for us, but it's also difficult because it's the month that I lost my baby. Here are the 5 things that I did to mourn my baby. As I said, every person mourns differently. Everyone does it differently. For me, these are the things that I did to mourn our baby. Number 1, do not mourn alone. You have to talk about it. This was the biggest thing for me, is when we found out that everything was not okay in our pregnancy. We didn't tell anyone at first because it wasn't at the stage that we were ready to announce the pregnancy or anything. We believe that at 12 weeks you normally announce a pregnancy, and that's when you talk about it. And so nobody at that stage knew that I was having a miscarriage, and we went away on holiday. You'll be able to see more about that in my previous vlog. We went away on holiday and we told no one what was going on in our lives, and yeah, so eventually when I did go for the DNC, I was shattered. So I realized that I will need to talk about it. So we started telling friends, we started telling family, and still I had some trauma from the hospital and my DNC. So we realized that we would need to talk about it, and not just to friends and family. We made the news public on Facebook, which also got that conversation going. Lots of friends who I knew and didn't know so well, acquaintances, they started messaging me on Messenger, telling me their stories, and I was shocked and so sad to realize how many people went through miscarriages and just never talked about it. It was so sad to learn that, but it started the conversation and it was good. But to me, it was still not enough. Therefore, I decided to reach out to a pastor. My father-in-law is a pastor, and he has many friends who also serve the Lord. So I reached out to one of his friends that we actually know quite well, but he is also a pastor. And I decided to talk to him about the whole experience. And he also had he has a lot of experience in guidance counseling and trauma counseling. So it actually made a huge difference to talk to him and get it all out of my system. And his wife and himself also had a miscarriage when they first got married many years ago. So he also knew from personal and emotional perspective what a family can go through when going through a miscarriage and how traumatic that experience is. So my first tip is you have to talk about your trauma and your experience and what you're going through. To me, the more I talked about it, the better it got to other people. Maybe it would be just talking to your spouse and just being open with them about your feelings and what you're going through, but you have to talk about it. You cannot keep it for yourself to deal with it on your own. It is not healthy. We need to talk about it. So that is my first and I would say most important tip of mourning a miscarriage. My second tip for mourning a miscarriage would be you have to get something to remember the baby by, even if it's a tree that you plant or a tree that you buy, to remember them by and just acknowledge that they existed. It happened, and in a way that helps with the mourning process, because if we lose loved ones, we bury them and we have a whole service for them, but nothing happens when we miscarry. And for us, the mourning process, we did lots of little things, like we lighted a candle, we wrote letters to our baby, which I'll get later too, because I think that was also very important. But we need to remember the people that we lost, and if you miscarry a baby, and I feel that's also important to remember them by. So what I did is I got a tattoo. I'll share the picture of it later on. But this is the tattoo that I got for our baby that I lost. The significance behind this is it's a sunflower, which is my favorite flower. But a sunflower always turns to the sunlight, to the sun. And the significance to this was, after losing our baby, it was so difficult that we had to turn to God, to the Lord, to find peace and to know that one day we'll meet our baby in heaven. And then the butterfly was our baby flying to the sun and flying to heaven. Beautiful butterfly. And then I just got the date August 2021. I didn't want to put a specific date because, as I mentioned, August is a very special month for us. It's our wedding anniversary month. It's the month we got engaged in. And then we also lost our baby in this month. So I didn't want to make it a negative tattoo or just, I wanted to make it something positive, that our baby is with the Lord and one day we'll meet a baby. It was a baby boy. One day we'll meet our baby, but I wanted to get this tattoo to remember them by. Speaking of which, I still need to get a tattoo for Hayley, who is now with us Earthside. I already have ideas, and as they say, once you get your first tattoo, you never stop planning your next and your next and your next, which is so true because I already have Hayley's tattoo planned out. Anyway, but I just need to at some stage go and get it. So tip number 2 from my side would be get something to remember your baby by. If it's a tree, if it is a little tombstone, if you want to have something in your house to remember them by, if you want to put the scans and pregnancy tests in resin and frame it, do it. For us, it was for me to get the tattoo. Step number 3 for me, for mourning my baby, I actually went and I cut my hair. But professionally with a hairdresser. But I always had this long blonde hair, but it was very long. And after the miscarriage, I just felt like I needed a big change. I'll share a picture of my haircut. But my best friend and I, we went to a hairdresser and we went full makeover on that day. It just helped with the whole mourning process. But I remember feeling so free when my hair was cut and it was short, and I felt like a new person and I was ready for this new chapter. So my step number 3 on how I mourn my baby is I went through a drastic makeover. My hair is now much longer. I'm trying to grow it out again, but I loved my short hair and I think it looked so great. So, 4th thing we did to mourn our baby is we wrote letters to our baby. Just after the DNC, I was trying to get my husband Hannes to talk about the miscarriage and how he felt about it all, because I was very open. I was crying, I was mourning this baby, and I was taking it really hard, and he wasn't talking at all. He disappeared into the room and wouldn't talk, played games, and he was just shutting down. So I asked him to please write a letter to our baby and how he felt about the whole process, and I did too. So we wrote our baby letters. In my previous vlog, I read you my piece of the letter, but this helped us in so many ways to just talk about our feelings, get it out there, and it's so special looking back at the letters and knowing how raw the feelings were at that stage. So that really helped us to mourn our baby, was to write letters to our baby. So if that's something that you would also like to do to mourn your baby, do it, and find things that will really add meaning and will help you with your mourning process. So my tip number 4 is write letters to your baby. Then tip Number 5, to help with mourning a miscarriage or the loss of a baby or the loss of a loved one, for that matter of fact, is we made a video tribute to our baby. So everything about our pregnancy journey, finding out that our baby was not doing okay and that I was having a miscarriage, as well as the DNC, and afterwards we made a whole video tribute to our baby as a final goodbye. And it also got us talking about the baby and acknowledging that it happened, because for me and my husband it was very difficult to talk about it. I cried so much, but for my husband, as I mentioned earlier, it was hard to talk about it. And this video tribute that he put together for the baby really helped to get him talking, to just come out of that shell and just say what was on his mind. And yeah, it just helped. But not everyone is going to create a video, but maybe put together your scanned photos, put it in a photo album. If there's any memorabilia or anything to remember your baby by, put it in a scrapbook, put it in a photo album, put it in a video, put it in, just take pictures of everything and put it on a Facebook album. Anything that will help you process and know that this baby existed and acknowledge this baby and give them their little corner in your home or their little space in your garden, wherever, but acknowledge this baby and mourn the fact that they are not here. But they did exist, and even if it is only in our hearts and in our minds and we never got to physically meet them, they were still real to us, they were still humans, but we need to acknowledge them and that they existed. So these are my 5 tips. This is a short vlog, but I hope it will help a person out there to mourn their loved one, mourn their baby. To me, I felt so alone going through this miscarriage because no one was talking about it. Only after we shared our story did people come and tell us about their experiences and their stories. So for me, I felt so alone going through it, and I hope that this vlog will make you feel less alone and know that I'm there for you, and you're more than welcome to share your story in the comments and tell me how you experienced it and what happened with your baby, if they had a name, what was the date. Please feel free to share, and it will make us women feel less alone. Only when I started reading about it did I find out that 1 in 4 women experience miscarriages. That's a lot. That's a lot. And we're not talking about it. We are in the era where we are loaded with information. Why do we feel like we can't talk about miscarriages and we can't talk about how we felt that our bodies failed us or we failed our babies, which is not the truth, but it does feel like that. So let's get talking. Let's start the conversation. What happened to your baby? How did you lose your baby? Tell us about it in the comments, and let's make one another feel less alone. We as mothers, we as women need to be in each other's corners. We need to fight for one another. We need to hug one another, less judging and more loving. It's what this world needs. Sorry, now I'm rallying for a whole different thing, but let's not make it a taboo to talk about our babies that we lost. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day, a lovely evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, That Mother Who. Let's change the world and let's rally for our kids and let's be that mother who absolutely does her everything for her kids, but also that mother who fights for what she wants, that mother who loves her kids unconditionally, that mother who just loves. Anyway, have a lovely evening. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.